Go.
Hi folks, right, today I thought we'd do something a bit different. I'm having a Zoom meeting with one of the club's oldest members, and by that I don't mean he's the oldest, I mean he has been with us
Less of that.
possibly the longest. One of our most enthusiastic Leaf drivers, and a proper, unlike me, Yorkshireman. It's Mr. Paul Carnall. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Basically, I've been washing and polishing the car all day. Not this car, actually, my wife's car, because I did mine the other day and I was told that the effort I put into mine should be repeated on hers for some reason.
Right, and was your wife's car worthy of all that attention? Was it an EV?
No, it isn't. No, it's an ICE car, unfortunately. It's a Kia Picanto, but she does want an EV and we are working towards it.
I should have given it a secondary treatment then, no waxing for that.
Oh, it got a wax, but the inside didn't get as much attention as what mine did.
So your Leaf, I believe, is quite new, Paul. You've had this new Leaf fairly recently.
Yeah, I could go into the store. Do you want me to go into my Leaf story?
By all means,
from the very beginning.
Yep.
Right. Well, back in 2017. Well, up to 2017, I've always had like big cars. I went through what we call my Lexus era. I started off with the 3-litre GS 300. Then that wasn't big enough, so I went for the 4-litre V8. That was LS 400, and that wasn't big enough, so I went for the LS 430 V8. All singing, all dancing. It did have a bit of a twitch on the steering wheel, is the fact like that every time you passed the petrol station, it wanted to pull in.
Yeah. Yes,
3-litre.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it was the last one was 4.3 V8.
Oh my word.
Yeah, I think one winter I think it was 2010 when we had that really bad winter. I think I was getting around about 15 miles per gallon. Which I know it sounds crazy, but I was quite proud to stand and put 80 quids with it. I don't know why, but it were like a badge of honour to stand there and fill my car up while people came, filled up, and drove off.
Yeah.
I even bought a sign for my drive that said Lexus parking here, lesser cars will be clamped.
However, you obviously had a change of heart at some point.
Well, yeah, I got a job at Alfreton, and I was living in Doncaster, and the commute was 33 miles each way. And I said to my wife, I need to get something a bit more economical. Well, me being as a big guy, big car, started looking, and instead of 20 miles per gallon for the Lexus, I went for a XC90 Volvo, 2.4 diesel, and that I got 30 miles per gallon out of it, which I thought were absolutely brilliant at the time, because I got from 20 miles per gallon to 30 miles to the gallon.
Yeah, it's a bonus.
Yeah, and after having that car for a while and finding, well, it did go Exxon Valdez on me.
Exxon Valdez.
It did, yeah. I've looked at, there's a big oil leak under that, and I kept looking.
Have you ever seen the film Waterworld?
Yeah.
Did you see the joke about the Valdez in that one?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I don't remember it.
I'll save it because it's a spoiler for people. But yeah, anyway.
But anyhow, so I bought a gallon of oil, topped it up, and at Carnall and Lindrick there was a Volvo specialist, so I took it to him, and he says, "Oh yeah, your core plug's gone on it, on the engine." I says, "Oh." I says, "Well, it's just a matter of popping one in." Then he says, "No, it isn't." He says, "It's gone where the gearbox is." He says, "So all the engine's got to come out."
Oh, blimey.
Yeah. So I said to him, "Well, it's done nearly 100,000 miles." I says, "So while the engine's out, is it easy enough to do anything else that needs doing to the engine, like a timing chain and everything like that?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "We can do all that." I says, "Well, do it." well, it come to £1,400 at the end. And I was still getting 30 miles to the gallon. It didn't make any difference. But instead of putting a gallon of oil a week in it, I was only now putting a little drop every now and again.
Yeah.
In fact, I was putting that much oil in it that I kept going to Alfred's for a gallon of oil. It took, I think, it was 2 or 3 weeks before they got it in. That I bought that much oil, they gave me a free set of screwdrivers.
So obviously,
They did,
this couldn't continue, Paul, could it?
No, it couldn't. No. I was like hemorrhaging money. I actually said to her, well, for something more economical, maybe a little bit smaller. So I started looking at a Toyota Yaris. Actually, I sat in one of them, and you can imagine, like I'm 20 stone, 6'2". I got in it like that, and when I got out, I walked out with the car still stuck on my arse, basically. And I said, no, I've got to go a little bit bigger than that. So I think one day I followed home. I think it was a white Nissan Leaf, and to tell you the truth, I had all on keeping up with it. With my 2.4 diesel XC90, I thought to myself, well, snipping that. What is it? A Nissan Leaf? Never heard of one. So I look like it. It's all electric. It's got no engine. Oh, bloody hell. Well, I'm not sure about that. But I'll have a look. I'll look into it. So I looked into it and started doing a bit of research. And I found out it did about 100 miles. In winter, probably 90. Well, my commute was 66 miles return, 33 miles each way. So I thought, I've still got a bit of leeway on that for, like, if anything happens. And there's detours on the motorway between 28 and 32 and 32 and 28 on the M1. And I thought, well, it looks all right. So what sort of deals have they got on them? And how much would it save me? And that. So obviously, night shift. And sometimes being a maintenance engineer on nights, it can get a little bit quiet. So I sat down with 2 A4 size sheets of paper and started doing my own manual spreadsheets, because I'm not a computer guy. I can do, but it'd take me that long to do it that it were quicker with pen and paper.
Yeah.
And I started putting down fuel costs, tax, which were £325 a year versus zero. Insurance, I got a quote which were basically slightly cheaper for the 30 kilowatt Leaf than what it were for the XC90. And I worked out my costs, and it worked out on paper at £20 a month cheaper, and that were £200 odd a month PCP. And I went, no, that can't be right. So I screwed them bits of paper up and started all over again. And then I came out with roughly the same result. So I screwed them bits of paper up, chucked them away, and came out with it again. So on my third attempt, I really thought about it and put everything into it what I could. And I still came out with basically slightly cheaper or equal each month for a brand new 17 plate car.
So this piqued your interest. So did you take it?
It did, yeah. Drive? Yeah. So I actually went on Car Wow and put what I wanted in. I think there were about 5 or 6 results. And the difference between, I think, one down Peterborough, I think it was, and Barnsley Nissan were only around about £30 or £40 or something like that. Peterborough was slightly cheaper, but I didn't fancy travelling down to Peterborough, and Barnsley Nissan were a lot closer. So I thought to myself, well, I'll go to Barnsley Nissan. So I went to Barnsley Nissan, and I met the sales guy there, Steve Watkins, I think his name was, and he got one in, and we had a test drive. I only had about an hour in it, and I thought to myself, well, this is easy. And I thought, well, if I could, all I want it for is a commute car. All I want to do is just go to work, come home from work, and maybe go to the shops occasionally. We've still got my wife's, which is in the background there, that Picanto, if we need to go a long distance. So I thought, well, I'll go for it. So I sat down, and he said to me, do you want this light? Do you want that? Do you want paint protection? Do you want I says, no. I says, all I wanted to do is go to work and come back again. So he says, what colour do you want? I says, well, what colour will get me it quickest? He says, red. I says, well, I'll take a red one then. So it must have been the easiest negotiation for him ever.
Yeah, funny. My first test drive of my Leaf was only 20 minutes, and that was enough for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think I knew after about 20 minutes, and I think I had about 45 altogether, 45, 50 minutes. The weird thing with regen, when he showed me that, you know, I was still actually putting my foot on brake to slow down, even though I didn't have to.
Did it feel like the brakes were stuck on with regen? I know it did for me when I first had it.
A little bit, but it sort of I sort of got used to it quite quickly.
You get your head around it, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah. I think driving automatics for 20 years helped.
Yeah.
Because all the Lexuses, or Lexi, whatever you want to call them, were all autos. The XC90 were automatic. So it would actually move into a Leaf, which is quite easy from that point of view.
So
using two pedals.
That was your first Leaf, which was 30 kilowatt. You then moved on from that. How long did you have that?
I had it 18 months, and I did 33,000 miles in it. I was way over my PCP. And the usual Nissan thing, it was creaky door mirrors, and apparently it's a common thing with Nissans.
Yeah, I had that with mine. Yeah,
yeah.
Although they stripped it and got some lube in there, and it was fine after that.
Well, they said to me, "Oh, we'll put your new ones on." I went, "Oh, great." He says, "Let's take it in. We'll take it in and have a look at it first to see what we could do, because the door side were really bad." And they took the car in, and I think this might have been a tactic actually. He said to me, "I've got a 40 outside, 40 kilowatt black one." He says, "Do you fancy a ride in that?" He says, while we were waiting for half an hour, I said, "Yeah, all right then." So I sat in it, I drove round in it. I came back with a big smile on my face, because it would have taken it. Another one with X-Sensor, so got a couple of extra toys and that.
Yeah.
And it must have been the easiest sale for him ever. I ended up buying it. So then I had to explain to Jackie that I'd cured the problem with the creaky door mirrors, but I'd spent a fortune in buying another car.
Most expensive fix ever, eh?
It was, yeah. It weren't an easy conversation.
What did Jackie think of the transition from ICE to EV?
She loves it. She does actually want one herself, but well, like with the situation with the lockdown, I'm furloughed at the moment and that, and it's like everybody else. We don't want to like splash out and do something.
No,
so
not. Yeah.
We know that we've got a job at the end of it.
Yeah.
If I go back to work, which I've been assured by the company I work for, that I've got a job at the end of it, there's no need to worry.
But you have recently had to change your car, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, this is the actual door mirrors on the other one started creaking. But
I see a pattern emerging here, Paul.
Yeah. I actually rang them up and I said, "Oh, the door mirrors are starting to creak on this one." He says, I'd only had it just over. I think I'd already had it about 9 months. He says, "Oh, don't worry, we'll get it sorted for you." Because I mentioned Nissan Barnsley, they've been really good over that. And he says, "Don't worry." He says, "It's under warranty." He says, "We can get it sorted for you." I says, "Oh, okay." He says, "What are we talking?" He says, "Do you fancy a 62? I says, 62 what? He says, 62 kilowatt Leaf. I says, "Well, yeah." I says, "But how much?" Like any Yorkshireman would say, "How much?"
How much? First question, yeah.
First question. And he says, "I'll get back to you." So he came back to me and he said, "I could take yours in," he says, "and give you a good price for it." He says, "But you'd have to put £1,000 down and it would be an extra £50 a month to buy it." So I looked at, I got the speakerphone on this time. So I've learned not to do things without listening. And she turned around and said, "No, we're not paying any more money out than what we're paying now." So I said to Steve at Barclays, I said, "I'm sorry." I says, "I'm not willing to pay any more than what I'm paying now." He says, "Oh, okay." He says, "We'll leave it at that." He says, "But I might have another idea. I'll ring you back in a bit." So I think it was about 2 days later, he rang me back and he said to me, "What about," he says, "a brand new 40 kilowatt?" He says, "for £25 a month less than what you're paying now." Well, I got the speakerphone on and Jackie's head went up and down that fast. I think she spilled the tea.
Snapped his hand off.
Yeah, snatched his hand off. I know that I was moving from a finance agreement though back to a PCP, because the other car it was on finance. It wasn't a PCP.
Yeah.
So it would have been at the end of the finance my car. But I'm 60 now, and I've got to go on 66, and I'm thinking 64, 65, and engineering can forget about it for me. And I thought to myself, well, 4 years with this one, and if it's still in good condition, then I could actually pay the balance and I'll keep the car. You know, or I had a little City Zoe, and I was surprised at how much room there was in it at the front.
Yeah, they're funny, the Zoe. I mean, I've owned a 30 kilowatt Leaf, and well, I've had a couple of Leafs, but older Leafs, and the Zoe. And what I found with the Zoe is that although it's a smaller car, the cockpit feels bigger. It's a bit less enclosed. It's quite a roomy car, and the boot's big enough, you know.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, well, plan B could be take this to end of its PCP, 4 years, hand it over, and by then Craig Tong, who is 52 kilowatt, might have got a bit fed up with it. They might have put a 70 kilowatt out then, and he'll jump into one of them, and I'll have Craig's or something like that at 50, second hand.
Who knows what's going to be available? In fact, the way things are going, they're talking of Dacias. I was looking at that little Skoda thing actually. Is it the IV?
Citigo.
Yeah, that looks quite interesting. Yeah. As a sort of second car.
Yeah, well, actual fact, Jackie's looked at the Skoda Citigo E Citigo, whatever it is. She's looked at the E-Up. Obviously, being Yorkshire people, E-Ups are really fanciable. Yep. Although it's not quite right, but she's looked at one of them, and I told her that the Citigo and the E-Up is basically the same platform. It's just different configurations on bodywork and that. And she's interested. But when she saw that the other day that were advertised on the TV, well, on the YouTube, which she showed her that Dacia, and she says, "Do you know something?" She says, "If that came out now," she says, "I'd be really interested in that."
It's funny, but once the wives get the EVs, Paul. I mean, when I had a Leaf, I've got a Zoe now, but when I had a Leaf, Julie wouldn't let me drive her Zoe. She was very, very possessive of it. She loves it. Loves that car. Yeah, that's it. You won't get her out of it.
No, I don't think I would do, actually. Apart from the fact like that, she'll just use me to polish it.
Yeah. Well, you've got to be good for something, Paul.
Well, that's it. I mean, with this lockdown, we've been together for 3 solid weeks now. Spending 6 hours outside on the cars, sort of mentally relaxing from me, and it keeps me out of the house for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I've painted so many fences. I think I'm as good as the Karate Kid.
I must admit, my shoulders I'm feeling a little bit now after doing 2 cars. But yeah, I was dropping one other thing. When I bought the 2017 Leaf, I drove out of Barnsley Nissan, and I was driving towards the M1 to go down the M1, and she just looked at my face like that, and she looked at my face and she said, "What are you thinking?" I said, "I'm thinking like that I've made probably the biggest ball cock of my life buying this." She says, "Do you think so?" I says, "Well, yeah." I says, I'm not sure about this electricity stuff and that. I says, but as long as it gets me to work and back again, I'm quite happy with it. But if it should have been, I think about 2 months later, if you'd have fetched me XC90 and said, "Do you want to swap bike?" like that, I'd have turned around and said no. I think by then I'd realised like what EVs are capable of.
Yeah, yeah.
Drive is brilliant. The smoothness. I just and the instant response. You know, I did have some fun with that car actually at near Bramley. You'll know where I mean. Where we met that time when we went into Rotherham.
Yeah.
There's 2 sets of traffic lights there, and I used to go from one set to the other set and then turn right. And I did actually leave a BMW 3 Series behind, and that really pissed him off a little bit. And I did the same with a young kid in a Vauxhall Corsa with Carlos Fandango exhaust and wheels. I left him behind, and I think that pissed him off a little bit as well.
I see a Putney Virgin here as well.
yeah. I mean, I must admit, I do sometimes when you get to the traffic lights, you see I look out in the corner of my eye and I see what's at the side of me. Especially when you go through Chesterfield and that, because like you've got Chesterfield bypass going back towards Sheffield, which we are from Sheffield, and we do fly up and down there. And I do like sometimes just to like. She actually laughs at me because she knows what's going to happen because I take it out in eco mode. She sees me hand go down and press the eco button off. And she says, "You're going to go, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah."
She's used to it by now. Is it just to raise the eyebrows?
Yeah. It's a similar thing when I had the Lexus that had a sport mode button, and she'd see me hand go down and press the sport mode, and she knew then that we were either going to go fast or overtake somebody. So yeah. It's a similar thing with. I mean, I drive around. I don't have eco on all the time, but sometimes if I'm going to be in the car all day and doing a lot of running around, I'll put the eco on.
But yeah, it's. I think with an EV, for me, it's the confidence to know that power is always there. The amount of times you've tried to overtake someone in a manual ICE car and you just get your gearing wrong, and like I say, with an EV, it's just a push and go. It's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And the response, I just can't get over the response. I mean, this is only a 40 kilowatt. This is 150 horsepower, and I think it's 107 in 30 kilowatt. So is it 262, something like that? 200 horsepower.
Sounds about right. 187 rings a bell, but I might be wrong on that.
But I mean, 200 horsepower. You fly.
It's enough, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, thanks for talking to us today, Paul, anyway.
Right, okay. I've enjoyed it.
Today, and we'll see you at the next club meet after lockdown.
Yeah.